This is the Stanley 51 spoke shave, and it's called a spoke shave specifically because it was meant for shaving roundness into spokes on cartwheels, etc., things like that. Used for all sorts of things, but it enables a nice, gentle take of shavings at whatever angle that you're looking to do. Now in this case, what I'm working on is a mast for a boat. Now it's a little bit flimsy, so it has got some flex in it. Normally you'd be working on thicker pieces of wood that have less flex in them, but in this case it's a model ship. In fact, what it's a model ship of is a Viking longboat, 32 oar Viking longboat. Now I can see it's going to be a little bit difficult, but as you can see, it's enabling me to work on getting the taper that I need towards one end. And this is actually the top of the square sail, so it's going to actually require tapering at both ends. Normally a spoke, you would taper down to one end, the center would be a bit thicker and the outside would be a bit thinner of a wagon wheel or a ship's wheel or anything like that. But in this case, we are just working on tapering it down towards sort of half thickness at one end. I'm actually going to move it back because it's too flexible where it stands, and I might actually have to work on it against the bench to stop the flex, work on it a bit slower and go around section by section. Take me a bit longer. You might usually do this sort of work on a wood lathe as well, and just shave it down, but unfortunately my wood lathe is all crated up and I don't have anywhere to use it at the moment. But you can see you get nice little shavings. If I can get it in camera, you get nice little shavings coming off, and it enables you to control where you're taking the shavings from. And bit by bit, we'll narrow this section down and round it off, and then just hit it with a bit of sandpaper at the final end to get it where we need it to be. So I'm just going to drop down to one clamp actually and let the table take what I need. I'm just going to take a little bit extra off the end. The trick with the spoke shaves is to get them sticking out just a little bit from the end, not too much, and having your blade nice and sharp. This wood is a great example for doing this on because it is hardwood that's come from a cheap model kit. It's crap wood. It easily tears out, etc. But by having a small amount sticking out and having it sharp, it's actually cutting through this quite effectively. So we're just going to roll it a bit more again. Now normally I would probably have a much more substantial setup than this going on, but I'm after just a quick and easy little get the job done type scenario, and everything, like I said, is currently packed away. But with this, just slowly working our way around, we'll take the shavings that we need to take, and like I say, I want it to be tapered, so I'm working more on the end than what I am on the middle. And if I can remember how to use a clamp, that would help. And this is kind of why I wanted to have it hanging off the end of the table. We might just try half hanging off and work on the end a bit. Save me having to turn it so much maybe. This may work, but we'll try. Doing stuff like this, you want to be careful that you, even though I've got my thumb behind the timber under the blade, the wood is between me and the blade, and I'm bringing the plane forward without bringing my thumb forward, so I'm protecting my thumb off the end there. We're just trying to take a little bit off the end, which is going to give it a much better taper and not affect so much the longer section. And we work around just taking the high points, because as you work your way down, you'll create high points and it'll end up with more of an octagonal feel. But as you work around, you just take off the high points to get it back towards round. And in the end, you end up with, instead of a thick section, you end up with a thinner section, and you get a nice long taper. So that's the whole purpose of a spoke shave. I'm going to keep working on this. I need to do the same on the other end and then just dress them up a little bit and then give them a slight sand off. The line that you see marked around is the center point of either end, so that I get a taper towards either end, and it'll be bound to the mast at that center section. The sail will be connected across with loops, and that will end up being a key part of the look of the Viking ship. So the Spoke Shave 51. It's a handy little tool. If set up right, it's easy to use. It's a flat bottom, so it is meant for straight pieces of timber, and slowly working on tapering and taking off on a round, so that you get a tapered dowel. No matter whether you purchase for collecting or using, happy hunting.